Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This video is going to assume that you already have seen some videos and you're familiar with the situation with Congress and whistleblowers, the United States Navy regarding UFOs, unidentified flying objects or UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena. And now I'm going to speak about what I think is the key piece of evidence that everyone in this field has seen and everyone just bypassed. It's right in front of them and they just missed it. So here we go. By the way, my name is Dr. Richard Roberts. I'm a medical doctor and a doctor of biophysics. I was the president and chief executive officer of a pharmaceutical company, URL Pharma, for 24 years. These videos that I make on YouTube, there's no place to donate money to me. I have no commercials on it. If there are any commercials on these things, don't look at me. YouTube does that. There's no merchandise to buy. I don't need your money. I don't want your money. I'm here strictly to help you. Here we go. What I've spoken about previously is that it seems that these UFOs, the way that they travel and the way that has been observed, that they have no wings, they have no propulsion coming out of them, no way that would guide them, no way of staying up in the air. It looks to me like they are traveling by what Einstein, through his theory of general relativity, and what physicists would call now is the bending of the four-dimensional space-time, or another way to think of it about it is by having something that goes against gravity. I want you to just think about this, then you're going to come very quickly to the conclusion, and then I'm going to show you the evidence. If these UFOs use something regarding gravity, it can either be anti-gravity or it can be that they generate their own gravity. A lot of people think that they make an anti-gravity force of some sort. That can't be true. If you think about the Earth is pulling everything towards it with gravity. If this UFO had an anti-gravity force, here's the Earth, it could go up or down, but that doesn't make it go in different directions. Anti-gravity just takes it up or down. It seems pretty clear that the gravity, or relativistically talk about bending of the four-dimensional space-time, it seems that these ships are able to create gravity to where they want to go. Or they bend the space-time, maybe compress space-time, so that they can travel at what we think are enormous speeds, because they're not actually traveling all the distance you see them traveling, but they compress space-time. They're actually able to just, what we think is travel is really, for them, a little bit of travel is an enormous amount of distance for us. So let's say they're able to create, these ships are able to create gravity. If they want to go that way, they create gravity above them, and that pulls them up. If they want to go this way, they create gravity to the side of them. They can go this way. Let's say that ship is hovering above the water. How is it hovering above the water and not crashing into the water? The water is underneath it. Here's the ship. The way that the ship would do it is the gravity that it creates would have to be above the ship. The Earth is pulling the ship downward. The gravity above it is pulling it upward, and that's how it's able to hover. So if it's creating gravity right above it, it's causing underneath the ship, it's creating an area where there's no gravity. So what happens? If there's no gravity above the water, there's no barometric pressure. Now what happens if you take water, I'm not going to heat it up, I'm going to put it in a big tube with a plunger, and I pull up, so I get rid of the atmosphere. I create a vacuum above the water. The water will actually bubble and evaporate into the air. It doesn't bubble because it's been heated to bubble. It bubbles because all the pressure has been taken from above it. So water is made of H2O. That's 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen. But it's not like it goes hydrogen, oxygen, and hydrogen in a row. It's angled. It's like this, with a hydrogen here, hydrogen there, and an oxygen here. So the oxygen that has a negative polarity is on one side, and the 2 hydrogens have positive polarity are on the other side. So that creates a negative and a positive side of a water molecule. So when these water molecules are all together in the water, their negative and positive parts are attracting each other, and that holds them together. But because the different molecules of water, and any liquid, are moving at different speeds, some of them, as they hit the surface, they want to go up and out. But the attraction of the negative and positive charges to each other pulls them down. But there is some, we call it equilibrium. Some of them escape, and because there's water in the atmosphere, some of them come back in, and that's how the water stays there and doesn't bubble away. You heat the water up, and the molecules start going very, very fast. Many more of them have the speed, the energy, which is the speed to escape and go up into the air. If you also do it the other way, instead of heating the water up, but you take all the water and all the pressure out of what's above the water will bubble up. So now, if you have a UFO hovering over the water, it doesn't hover like a helicopter. Look at a helicopter, which has a propeller going that's shooting air down. The water will ripple. It'll ripple in waves coming out because the air is coming down. These UFOs don't move by moving in the air. They don't have any propellers. They don't have any jet engines. They don't move air. So if you have water here and this UFO is hovering over the water, it's doing so by creating gravity above the UFO, which pulls the UFO up, and the gravity of the Earth is pulling it down. But if the gravity over the UFO is also causing there to be no gravity right underneath the UFO, which means there's no atmospheric pressure, and the water will start to bubble. Now let's look at what's been described as Tom Cruise, one of the Top Guns, really official. Jeremy Corbell calls him this real authentic Top Gun. David Fravor, who is a former U.S. Navy fighter pilot, testified before Congress. Let's look at what he says in this short clip.
The controller told us that these objects had been observed for over 2 weeks, coming down from over 80,000 feet, rapidly descending to 20,000 feet, hanging out for hours, and then going straight back up. For those who don't realize, above 80,000 feet is space. We arrived at the location at approximately 20,000 feet, and the controller called merge plot, which means that our radar blip was now in the same resolution cell as the contact. As we looked around, we noticed that we saw some whitewater off our right side. It's important to note that the weather on this day was as close to perfect as you could ask for off the coast of San Diego. Clear skies, light winds, calm seas, no whitecaps from waves. So the whitewater stood out in a large blue ocean. All four of us, because we were in F-18Fs, so we had pilots and Wizzo in the back seat, looked down a saw a white Tic Tac object with a longitudinal axis pointing north-south and moving very abruptly over the water like a ping pong ball. There were no rotors, no rotor wash, or any sign of visible control surfaces like wings.
Okay, so there we have it. Everyone ignored this. What is whitewater? Whitewater is when water is bubbling. It's bubbling. It's looking like a white foam. Whitewater rafting, going through rapids where the water is going very fast. It's hitting rocks and it's foaming up. It could be waves that are crashing down, causing foaming. David Fravor reports that when this UFO was hovering above the water, on a totally clear day with no significant waves, there was this white water, this bubbling of water created right underneath the craft. Now maybe the craft had heat and it was boiling the water right underneath it. Sorry, doesn't happen. The Navy pilots report there's no heat coming off of this thing. This was this ship creating gravity above it, which caused underneath it a negation of gravity. Right, the gravity above it was able to negate the gravity of the Earth, and that caused the water to bubble up. You have it right there. You will have not heard this anywhere in the thousands and thousands of videos. All the physicists that you've seen speak about this, do all their calculations. But I think it's sitting there right in front of our faces that this is clearly maybe the only example we ever have where we could actually see what this ability to control gravity, either you could say to condense four-dimensional space-time, or whether you want to say create gravitational field, that's what's going on.